Right now at noon, some potential ballot confusion in Goodman, Missouri ahead of the April election.
And we have red flag warnings across the area for these very gusty winds and the high fire danger. Well, look at your forecast coming up.
Plus, some community leaders at Easter Seals Midwest raise funds to support area veterans.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, there's some confusion surrounding the upcoming election in Goodman, Missouri. 2 candidates are running against each other in 2 different positions. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Elise Snowy. KOAM Samantha Walker has more on how the situation has raised some questions on what's allowed.
For voters in Goodman, Missouri, there might be some confusion when they look at their April ballot. J.R. Fisher and Clay Sexton are running against each other for 2 different positions. Both candidates are running for Goodman Mayor and for South Ward Alderman. The McDonald County Clerk's Office is pointing voters to a Missouri statute that disallows a party candidate from running for more than one office. It's allowed on this ballot because it's a nonpartisan municipal election. We called the Missouri Secretary of State's office to see if they could clarify what's allowed in this scenario. They said the statute the county clerk's office cites is meant to address state and presidential offices, not necessarily ones at the local level. They said the election in Goodman is a gray area. The Secretary of State's office adds it's too late for any ballot changes because absentee ballots have already gone out. If the same candidate wins both positions, the state office says typically the position that candidate didn't want would be left open as a vacancy. They say an appointment to that position could be made, and it wouldn't necessarily have to be the runner-up. How that position is filled is left up to town or county rules. Reporting in Goodman, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
You can find the full text for the Missouri statute the McDonald County Clerk's Office is referencing on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com. And you can find this story and more election news by scanning the QR code above. Now, we also have resources for deadlines. All Missouri and Oklahoma deadlines to register have passed for the April 8th election. Kansas residents have through today to register to vote. KOAMnewsnow.com has resources for all of the 4-state areas, such as polling places and election dates. Now let's check in with Chris Warner for a look at the forecast.
Yeah, we've got a very windy day out there. We have red flag warnings, so you can see our camera downtown Pittsburgh shaking out there with these gusty winds reaching upwards of 50 miles an hour. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. The traffic signal itself, you can see it dancing around out here with those gusty winds. Right now, we're in that brief period of some mostly cloudy skies, but they will clear back out to be partly cloudy a little later. Red flag warnings again through at least 10 o'clock tonight, and wind advisories through at least 8 o'clock tonight for these gusty winds. We started yesterday at 41, so just a bit above normal, but our high made it well above average and pretty close to a record, which would have been back in 1982. We're on our way to another very warm day, 73 in Joplin, 68 in Pittsburgh, and across the area we have upper 60s, low mid 70s across the region. So again, well on our way to a very warm day. We'll eventually make the upper 70s, low 80s. Temperatures gradually falling back, partly cloudy skies out there, down into the upper 60s by 11. And these gusty winds don't ease up overnight tonight either. In fact, they could increase tomorrow. We'll go over those details and plus some snow chances here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a single vehicle crash involving a cement mixer overturning blocks the roadway for more than 3 hours this morning. Now, it happened around 7:15 on North Schifferdecker Avenue in Jasper County. The driver was transported to an area hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And the Yates Center, Kansas City Council held a special meeting to discuss forward action after a fire destroys a community nursing home on Friday. Yates Center residents came together with a shared purpose to rebuild and revitalize the nursing home. Yesterday, local community members gathered to discuss strategies and ideas for the future of the Yates Center Health and Rehab Facility, which fire officials say engulfed in flames after a brush fire broke out in the south end of the building.
Probably trying to get all the entities together, the city, the county, the nursing home, state of Kansas, federal grants, just bringing everybody together and trying to get everyone on the same page, going in the same direction.
I watched 12 years of my career go in less than 16 to 12 minutes. I had to help my people, and our team was amazing. The community here was amazing.
Now, while no one was injured in the fire, residents have made it clear they will stop at nothing to ensure the nursing home is rebuilt. And dust, fire, and high winds led to 12 Oklahoma counties declaring a state of emergency. The largest fire took place in Love County Friday night, but what emergency crews found at the center of the fire was a home untouched. Austin Hedgecoth has the story.
Fire is a very strange animal. Makes a lot of noise.
On Friday, Love County faced 6 different fires. Here in Falconhead, the fire was so bad they had to put out an all-page and get help from every fire department in the county. And to make matters worse, they needed that help quickly because the fire was moving in that direction, towards Turner Public Schools. And sitting between the blaze and the school was Mary Ann Webb's house.
I was looking out the kitchen window, and all of a sudden the bush that stands in front of our kitchen window was ablaze.
So she ran outside to try and put out the bush fire, but realized she had even bigger problems.
So I run back in the house and I tell my husband, I said, there's a blaze all the way around this property.
Surrounded by flames, she called for backup, and then they called for backup too. The blaze started around 4:30 in the afternoon, and crews were still fighting well after dark.
They were very aggressive in what they were doing. I was very impressed.
The fire knocked out Webb's electricity and destroyed the gazebo behind her house.
When we walked out, it was just a blaze. You couldn't even tell really what the gazebo was.
But it missed her art studio, and her home of 30 years is okay too.
I feel like this is really God's blessing that it didn't get our house.
Webb said she's grateful for the first responders and wants everyone to realize the dangers of fire.
Oklahoma, as is much of the four-state area, remains under fire threat. Now, some curious elementary students in southeast Kansas traded typical spring break fun for a hands-on medical camp. The Inspire Health Foundation, the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas, and Greenbush partnered to offer the medical spring break camp for students this week. Now, the students will have the chance to create models and conduct experiments and participate alongside medical staff, including dietitians, respiratory therapists, and nurses. A group of adults with disabilities presented a check to some Southwest Missouri veterans. They had been collecting donations for a week and managed to raise more than $1,800. They're associated with Easter Seals Midwest in Joplin, and the nonprofit says the occasion shows anyone can be a community leader. Easter Seals has been helping people with disabilities and their families for more than 100 years. Coming up, the Heritage Trail in Joplin unveils 2 new additions to its legacy project. And later, we're making old-fashioned meatloaf in the Mr. Food test kitchen. Well, the city of Joplin unveils some new additions to its legacy project called the Heritage Trail. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more on the 2 storyboards.
It's important, I think, for every community to know and preserve its history.
Michael Apfel is John C. Cox's great-great-grandson, and he says it's a huge honor.
Its history, and to do this for John C. Cox and his family, and was just wow! I could have knocked us over with a feather. I mean, it really means a lot.
One of the storyboards the city of Joplin has added to their legacy projects tells the story of John C. Cox, who the director of the Joplin Convention and Visitors Bureau says was one of the earliest settlers of Joplin.
Very excited about it. Like I said, we had an old metal marker here is all it was, and this actually tells the story of John C. Cox and why he came here and what he did, the role he played in Joplin's history. He's basically the father of Joplin.
Very, very generous, loved the people here, the community, and was just a really good guy.
Some of John C. Cox's family members were in attendance to see the unveiling of the storyboard, which is placed closely to the very house that he lived in.
Original structure, and then in the 40s, the backside of the house was added on.
The The second storyboard added is called The Unrest. The director of the Joplin Convention and Visitors Bureau says it's about the tensions that existed between mining camps.
There was a time in what was called the Kansas City Bottoms, by where the Union Depot is, was a very rough area, and months and months of unrest happened in the Joplin here.
They both encourage people to read the storyboards to learn more about Joplin history.
You have to know how things started.
Reporting in Joplin, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
Now, those are the 8th and 9th Heritage Trail markers to be added to the project. And still to come on KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
It's savory, juicy, has a caramelized glaze, and it's one of our top-rated recipes. Just wait until you see it.
We've got gusty winds today, could be breezier tomorrow. We've got rain and we've got snow chances as well. Look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at noon. So another very windy day across the area, another very warm day across the areas. We'll be very close to record highs once again. And that all changes tomorrow thanks to the low pressure system that is giving us the wind today. Let's take a look downtown Pittsburgh. Again, we've got partly to mostly cloudy skies across the area. What we have everywhere, though, is those gusty winds. You can see them shaking our camera down there, just rocking it back and forth. And, of course, to go along with that, we have wind advisories. The latest of these run through 8 this evening, and that's because we could see these winds gusting 50 to 55 miles an hour as we go through the day. Now, they'll ease up about this much overnight. They'll be gusting still 45 to 50 overnight tonight. And we have red flag warnings across the region as well. The latest of these run through 10 tonight. So again, it's very dry. Obviously, it's very windy, no outdoor burning. And as we mentioned this morning, if you were with us or if you were not, if you're doing outdoor work, especially if you're in construction or you've got a trailer you're hauling, you've got chains on there, anything that could cause a spark, you need to be very aware of your surroundings. You need to be very aware of those spark possibilities because it won't take much in these dry conditions to start a fire, and with the winds, it won't take much for it to spread very quickly either. Again, skies will start to go partly cloudy again as we get a little later into the afternoon. Temperatures will continue to climb. Otherwise, we are dry today, and then believe it or not, we'll clear out a little bit late tonight into early tomorrow morning. Now, that said, at some point very early tomorrow morning, we will reach our highs for tomorrow. Upper 50s, low 60s, and then as we go through the day, see how the winds are beginning to swirl around here out of the southwest. It's thanks to a low pressure system that I think this is the 4th or 5th one this year that is going to track right along I-70, so just immediately north of us, and it's going to start to drop our temperatures, and it's going to start to bring in more clouds and the possibility for some showers, and yes, that is snow on the future track, which is just, it's crazy. We're going to go from near 80 degrees today to snow chances a little over 24 hours from now. We'll have showers initially, and temperatures will begin to drop, so we're into the 40s for most of us by noon. Southern counties still kind of warm at this point, but all of the temperatures will begin to fall back. Now we're into the upper 30s in our northern counties. We get these showers, and then we start seeing that transition, especially by late evening, to some possible snow. Now, by about midnight, it's out of here. And I'll tell you right now, snow accumulation's nothing to worry about in our area. Now, there are some winter weather advisories off to our northwest, and there are actually blizzard warnings from southern Minnesota back through north central Kansas because of the heavy amounts of snow. And not so much they're going to get several feet or anything. It's just the snow will come down heavy, and they're going to be dealing with winds gusting 70 miles an hour or so across parts of those areas. Tomorrow, though, our winds could gust as high as 60. So we do have that possibility of damaging wind gusts tomorrow. We go into Thursday, we'll ease up. Temperatures are cold to start. We'll be a little below normal as we head into the afternoon, but we will eventually make the mid to upper 50s by Thursday. Today, again, upper 70s, low 80s, very gusty winds. Again, gusting upwards of 50, 55 miles an hour. 45 to 50 mile an hour gusts tonight, and go back down into the 50s for our lows, and then we'll warm up just a hair before we start to see temperatures fall tomorrow. Down in the 30s again tomorrow night, mid to upper 50s on Thursday late in the day, and we start warming right back up into the weekend. Few showers Friday, maybe some thunderstorm chances Sunday morning. Back to normal temperatures next Monday, and then again, short-lived on normal. We start warming back up, getting close to 80 by the second half of next week.
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, stick around. We're making old-fashioned meatloaf in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. Well, today, Howard's making old-fashioned meatloaf in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Here in the Test Kitchen, we love reading your comments on Facebook and on MrFood.com. They help us plan what recipes to create and which ones to feature. And when a recipe stands out with tons of great comments, like the meatloaf we're making today, you can bet we'll be sharing it with you. For this, all we do is combine a couple pounds of ground beef with a finely chopped onion and green pepper. Then we add an egg, Italian breadcrumbs, some ketchup, and a bit of black pepper. And the trick to making any good meatloaf is you want to mix everything gently. This will keep it nice and tender. After putting it in a loaf pan, we gently pat it down so it holds its shape and doesn't crumble when it's baked. After baking it for about an hour, we spoon the remaining ketchup on the top and finish it with some brown sugar before popping it back in the oven for a few more minutes. You see, the combo of the ketchup and the brown sugar creates a to-die-for glaze that puts this meatloaf in a league of its own. So why not hop on your computer, tablet, or smartphone and grab the recipe for our old-fashioned meatloaf so you can make this for your family and see what all the hubbub is all about. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a classic comforting way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Well, as always, you can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just head on over to our website. Of course, that's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now let's take a look at the 4-state market prices.
All right, red flag warnings, wind advisories through this evening, no outdoor burning, winds gusting to 50, same tonight and into tomorrow, near 80 today. Now, do not dress for the temperatures tomorrow morning because you will regret it by the afternoon as we fall back into the 40s and 30s. By late day Wednesday, showers, maybe some light snow, no accumulations from that. Cooler on Thursday, warming back up into the weekend.
All right, Chris, thanks. And Dow, what do you have for us later on today?
Lots coming up at 5. For starters, an interest in skilled trades is rising among teenagers, and there's a job market waiting to welcome them. We're going to take a look at the growing effort to bring back vocational classes. Plus, we're going to break down a school bond issue in Galena, Kansas ahead of the April 8th election. And the Missouri Department of Conservation invites the public to learn more about native wildflowers while honing their artistic skills at a Colors of Spring program. Hope you'll join us for those stories. A lot more, of course. It's coming up today on KOAM News at 5.
All right, Dell, thanks. And that's the news for now. Thank you for joining us on KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5. Until then, have a great rest of your day.